Sup y'all, it's me, your boy Asmongold, and today we're over here in Blackrock Foundry, and I'm going to show you guys the raid testing I did for Beastlord Darmac. Now I'm doing this with the Guild Divinity. I've got a lot of friends in there, and so they let me come in and do the raid with them. Now this is a lot like Iron Qon, and it's also a lot like Feng. There's going to be three different kind of animals that you bring Beastlord Darmac to, and he kind of channels the abilities of this animal, and he kind of rides the animal, and after you kill the animal, then you gain the buffs from that animal. In Heroic, there's 4. There's an added Kel'Thuzad, but we're not doing Heroic here. And so anyway, the 3 different animals that you're going to have here are the Warg. The Warg does like a jump, and it jumps on people as you saw right there, and it puts a bleed on them if it jumps to them and actually puts the actually hits them whenever it actually lands at its jump location. And it jumps away from the tank and back at the tank, and in both times you can actually be hit by it. And so melee need to avoid this too, as I just did there. And obviously it's kind of a balancing act so you don't lose too much DPS. Now another thing that happens is these pack beasts come out at all times of the fight. They come out from pretty much the same place. It's the back, was it the back right one? Back right, I guess kennel, I guess you could say. And they just spawn and it just adds that you have to AoE down. They're very simple. It's not even really a big deal. As you see to my left there, there's a heavy spear. And what the heavy spear is it's pretty much, it pins people down. Oh, it's exactly like in, not faction champions. Why am I thinking that? The 4 kings, the spirit kings in MSV, the 4th boss, where they put the spears down on somebody and you have to kill the spear because the spear stuns the player. That's exactly how it works. It's the exact same thing. And so that also happens. You just have to kill those. They're just range kill those. What I did for pretty much most of this after I kind of got the hang of the fight is I spent most of my time on ads, since warriors are extremely good DPS on ads, and so I figured that would be where I guess my DPS would look the best and also would be the most effective, and I let the other casters with better single target do damage to the boss. Other than that, so I did talk about the Warg a little bit, and that is, again, he does the bleed, the jump and bleed. And I think that's pretty much all that he does. I think he might do one other thing I just can't remember right now. And the Kel'Thuzad, Kel'Thuzad is a stomping thing. This is the tantrum, as you can see, and it's just it's a lot again, like Feng, like Epicenter. It's just a raid-wide damage ability where he just deals damage to the raid over time. And he also does a charge, as you can see there. And so the Kel'Thuzad is pretty easy to avoid and deal with. The only thing that's dangerous with the Kel'Thuzad is obviously you're going to have a whole bunch of incoming damage for your healers with the tantrum, as you can see here. Tantrum does a whole lot of damage. Now, I am not able to answer the question, does the tantrum do more damage over time or anything like that. I'm not really sure. I don't, as I said before, this is raid testing, not necessarily how the boss will be, and so I don't really know all of the mechanics entirely. And then the last one that we're going to look at is the Rylak, or pretty much like the Chimera, the 2-headed Chimera monsters that are all over in Warlords of Draenor. And what the Chimera is going to do, and I'll show you guys the Chimera pretty soon here also, is that what it does is that it will do a breath of fire in a certain direction, and if you stand in a breath of fire, guess what? You take damage, and you also get a dot on you that actually can be cleansed, and so it's not really that big of a deal, but you do get a dot on you. And so that's really all you have to worry about in terms of the Rylak. And also whenever he gains the Rylak's buff, the power from the Rylak, he will, what is it, whenever he throws down his spears, they put the fire comes out from his spears, and he also puts puddles of fire on the ground. And so again, after you kill each animal, you have to take him to the different animals, and so you can decide which animal he actually goes to. And so, let's say if you want to do a certain order, I don't know if there's going to be an achievement associated with different orders. If you want to do the Kel'Thuzad first and Heroic, or let's say, see right here, I just want to mention real quick, is that he's going into a tantrum, and so that's because we already killed the Kel'Thuzad, and he's empowered by the Kel'Thuzad's abilities. And another thing there, as you can see, my Ravager is just a little bit too far away to do damage, which is, fucking awesome. Anyway, what I wanted to say before was that you can actually decide which ones that he attacks, or that he empowers himself with first, or rides first, whichever way you want to look at it. And you just have to take him closer to them. the one endeavor he's closest to, that's the one he's going to get on next. It's really simple. So if you want him to get on the Kel'Thuzad next, you put him next to the Kel'Thuzad. If you want him to get on the Rylak, then put him in front of the Rylak. Want him to get in front of the Elec, put him in front of the Elec. It's real simple. Other than that, I'm thinking like, so the dot debuff that you get, the bleed is probably the easiest thing to deal with because it's like an L2P situation where if you're getting hit by the bleed, it's probably your fault. Or if you're getting more than one stack of it, I should clarify that. You can get probably like 3 to 4 stacks without it really being a big deal, but there's really no reason to ever get 3 to 4 stacks anyway. The way that you handle the bleed, as I said before, is you just move out of his jump area, and he jumps to his target and then back, and so there's 2 times that you have to avoid. And there's a Rylak that's out, and you can see there's a bunch of fire that's all over the place too. And the Rylak is kind of like the fire guy. As I said, this fight is very similar to Feng, where this is kind of like his fire weapon, and the epicenter is kind of like the the Elec. And I'm trying to think of even the other one that he even does. I can't even remember. I guess the jump is original. The jump is new, but this fight, as I said before, is very reminiscent of Feng in MSV, especially with just like kind of bringing him closer to him and determining. But I think this is a very fun fight. I like this fight a lot, and it's fun because for one, I get to do a lot of AOE, and I like doing that, of course. And also, there's a lot of different abilities going on, and you have a lot of control over kind of how the fight goes, which is something that I kind of enjoy because you can kind of decide like, well, oh, you know, should we do this boss first or this boss? And you can kind of make that decision based on what you think is going to be easier and also what comp you have. And I just think that whole thing is kind of cool. Other than that, you'll see we have some 5% wipes. It's not actually because we wiped at 5%. We just didn't kill the boss. We let ourselves get killed, so we could retest it again for more experience. But other than that, this was as I said before, this is a pretty fun thing to do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's very important to mention. Whenever he actually gains the Rylak buff, after you kill the Rylak that he's riding, he'll do like a breath, and then you'll think that it's stopped, and then he'll do it again. And so if you're doing this, and you see him like breathing and then stop, and then he'll breathe again, and it's kind of a really weird thing to do. And as soon as he got all of the buffs here, and superheated shrapnel, that's the Rylak breath that he gets. And as you can see, there's a bunch of pools on the ground. There's his jump. And so towards the end here, it gets pretty hectic. So this seems like a fight that you'd want to either blow Heroism on at the start to get as much damage on him as possible, or blow Heroism on him like at the end to kind of heal through the high damage phase. And as you can see here, the heavy spears are actually shooting out fire. And so that is, again, I think I might have talked about that just a little bit, and it's very simple. The spears shoot out fire as soon as you kill the Rylak, and so the Rylak is one of the more dangerous ones. In normal mode, the rotation that we decided to go for was the Wolf, the Elec, and then the Rylak. We were talking about this, and I think everybody's pretty much in agreement that the heroic order will probably be the Wolf, the Elec, the Rylak, and then the Kel'Thuzad last, because the Kel'Thuzad does a high AoE damage phase. But again, that's, I mean, just complete speculation. We have no real idea. Kel'Thuzad does something. I actually don't even remember what it is. And these ads, as I said before, these ads just pretty much spawn all throughout the fight, and there's not really a whole lot that's important with them. I think they buff each other, and so you want to kill them before the next wave spawns. And there we go. There, we're dying. And another thing is that you didn't notice on his buffs, you can also see buffs that he's gained, and he gains one of those buffs every single time that he empowers each of these different ads. And I think I'm not actually entirely sure about this, but I think that the animals change color whenever he's near them, but that's something I'm not really entirely sure about. In terms of positioning, we tried a couple of different things. We tried kind of tanking him like right on top of the ads, and that kind of caused some problems, and it was also helpful in other ways. I don't really know, because he also does like just a bunch of different other stuff, and so I can't really say like right now at this point like what will be the absolute best positioning, but tanking him near the ads is pretty good, or at least to where people can cleave off of them, kind of like maybe where the wolf is. And the ads, they always spawn, as I said before, they always spawn in the back right like kennel area, and so that makes it pretty easy to predict. Like in my opinion, I think that's a little bit too easy. I wish that they would spawn in different places just so, I don't know, it'll be a little bit more original or more harder to predict. A lot of the fights that I've done in the Warlords of Draenor beta testing for the raids have been a lot of fun, and they offer some pretty new mechanics, and they offer some kind of old mechanics, and so it's good to see the raids also still being very good. One of the main things that I liked about Mists of Pandaria, one of the only things that I really liked about it, was that they had very good raids. I thought that all of the raids in Mists of Pandaria were very well done, and so it's really good to see that even though like the other aspects of the game it seems are getting a lot better, the raids are still going to be very, very challenging and fun in Warlords of Draenor also. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really should mention. The buff for this, the bleed, lasts 30 seconds, and so you have to effectively dodge 2 of them in a row if you have the bleed in order for it to fall off, because he does it every 15 seconds or every like 14 seconds or something like that. And so that's just a little kind of fun fact. And other than that, as you can see here, there's the first buff that he gained from the wolf. And this is easy. This is not hard. Honestly, we did this. I think it's. I didn't want to mention this, but I guess I will anyway. I think that this was our current equivalent of heroic, or sorry, of normal mode. But in the Warlords of Draenor, if you guys don't know, heroic is normal, and no, sorry, our current version of normal on live on 5.4 is going to turn into heroic, and heroic is going to turn into mythic, and mythic is going to be 20-man only, and heroic, as you can see here, it can be, I think, from 10 to 30 people, and so this is like the second hardest difficulty, I believe. I'm not really entirely sure. And another thing that's I probably should mention here is that Divinity is a very good guild, and all of the people that are not from Divinity, that are either from my guild or just people who are here, are also extremely good players. And so I kind of have like a skewed view of this, because obviously I'm playing with a much better than average people, but it did seem to me like things were extremely easy to kill and not extremely hard at all. The fight was extremely fun, I would say. I think it will be a lot more fun when, I don't know if tuning is right, if you guys didn't know. Oh, I'll mention this before. I know people are going to leave a comment anyway. People are probably going to ask, am I using Shadowmourne? And yes, I am using Shadowmourne. That's because it scales all gear up to 655, and that includes Shadowmourne. And so the reason I'm doing that is because obviously Shadowmourne has 3 sockets, and it also is a 3.7 weapon speed. And I was debating using a 3.8 speed weapon like the Ragnar's weapon, but I figured that the legendary effect plus the extra socket would be a little bit better. I might try the Sulfurous next time. I don't really know. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to mention that because a lot of people ask that question. Warriors right now, Arms Warriors, are extremely good at AoE. As you can see here, like I'm topping damage by a pretty large margin. Warriors are going to be doing that anyway, as you can see there, by the way. There's the breath that he gets from the dot. Now, in this one, we decided to do the Rylak second and the Kel'Thuzad last, because Kel'Thuzad does high AoE damage. And in case the high AoE damage turns out to be a really big deal on live, since there are a lot less healing cooldowns now. And so I did want to mention that real quick. But Warriors have extremely good AoE now, and so this was a very fun fight for me to do, as I said, because I could really just fucking destroy damage here because of, just the changes to Warriors, and like Whirlwind just does like ridiculous fucking damage. Like it's amazing how much damage it does. It's very fun. And after this pull, I think that's pretty much the end of the video. we had a few more attempts, and my video editor kind of started failed on me. I don't really know why that happened or anything like that, but it's whatever. I pretty much got the only 2 good attempts, and there's a spear, as you can see there. I'm glad that this is in there. There's a debuff that I have from the spear, and I'm stunned until people kill it, which is again the exact same as the what do you call it? As the Spirit Kings. And this right here, this is just a best case scenario, because whenever, obviously, sometimes if people are slow on killing the ads, you'll get to AoE down 2 packs of them. And I was kind of rotating Bladestorm and what's it called, Ravager. And this was a lot of fun to do. I hope that Warriors won't get changed too much to where they're not as just really good as they are now. The gameplay on ARMS is kind of fun, but I also am thinking that it's also pretty much one of the main reasons it's fun is I always have fun doing a lot of damage, and if I'm at the top of the damage meter, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm gonna have fun doing it. But I am kind of happy that Warriors are not at the bottom. But maybe that's because that they'll get nerfed right before the expansion comes out, and they'll be at the bottom then. So we'll see. It doesn't really matter now. Anyway, pretty much I'm trying to think of there's anything else that I really need to say here. There are these debuffs that people get. I'm not entirely sure what each and every debuff does, but as a general rule, if it's a red debuff, it's from the fire, and you probably should move out of it. And there is that one debuff that it's like a stacking dot from his breath there, the superheated shrapnel that you just need to not stand into. And towards the end here, as you see here, people are taking a pretty good amount of damage, and so, especially as I said before, with the reduction of AoE cooldowns and all that, it's kind of rough. But if you kind of have everything kind of sorted out, right there, I shouldn't have gotten hit by that. I could have avoided that, but it was just bad play on my part. And so there are a lot of different things like that I mean, you can see in this video. This video is not really a showcase of Asmongold playing well, because I'm kind of trying to show some different things in the video by kind of letting them happen. And there's the 3 stacks of the bleed. I think I'm about to die here, actually. Yeah, I'm about to die. Yeah, I'm dead. And so if you get too many stacks of the bleed and those other abilities are happening, you're probably going to die, because there's just too much incoming damage on you. And I don't think I even used... no, I did use my cooldown, but I was in defensive stance too. Yeah, I guess I still died. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this. This is, again, Beastlord Darmac in Blackrock Foundry, I think on their version now of Heroic Mode, or our current version of Normal Mode. And so anyway, I don't really know when the next raid testing is going to be, but hopefully I will be awake to do it. So until then, I'll see you guys. And thanks for watching, and comment, subscribe.